Let's take a look at Activity 1 from Design 330, Week 4 in the assignment guide. The goal of this activity is to show that you have an introductory understanding of the terms and concepts of gear sets. And of course, we're talking about spur gears. So the first thing I'd like you to do is do a web search. This is like what you did in Design 300 and many of our other classes where you just type in some keyword searches like gear tooth profile or gear tooth terms or gear ratio, pitch diameter, circular pitch, or pressure angle to get the information just what you're looking for. So I've done this for the first one, gear tooth profile, just to give you an example. And here I see, involute gear tooth profile. There's something about modules, sizes, and standards that might be important for me to understand. Here's some definitions of what a gear tooth looks like. And I see that there's some parts of it. That's a cross section of a gear. This P goes from one point of a gear tooth to the same point on the other side. There's S, there's E, and we'd want to know what those look like. So M is a module. It's P divided by pi, and we can remember that pi has something to do with the radius or diameter of a circle. And so it's sort of going to be about how far it is along the circle from one gear tooth to the other would be the pitch, and then dividing that by pi would tell us sort of what the module is. Pitch, reference pitch, is the distance between corresponding points. There's pressure angle, there's addendum, dedendum, tooth depth, all these things. Wow, look at all those things. So these have to do with the module. I found another one here. It just didn't give me a lot, but it talked about involute and undercut. So this is sort of how gears are. Spur gears or straight cut gears are the most simple one. Here's something about involute gears. Look at this, showing where the line of contact goes as they move past each other. That one's kind of cool. Um, so there's just some interesting stuff. Here's gear theory. Wow, look at all the. Oh, here's about how they're used, things like that. Down here, there's involute again, line of engagement, connecting points. Oh, here's a picture that has a lot of stuff. Okay, pitch circle or pitch diameter. We've talked about that. To thickness, the clearance. It's important for us to know about. Addendum, that's the part of the ear tooth above the pitch circle. Dedendum, the part below. There's the face width. So there's all sorts of cool stuff on here that you could just sort of start talking about and be able to describe them. Like when you see the word addendum, what is it? You should be able to annotate that, hopefully, and think it out. Oh, I see. It's the part above the pitch circle below. So that's how you would do this first part, perform a web search. And then out of all of that, select 2 or 3 images that are simple, clear, and well explained. Okay. You want to know about some of the typical calculations that might be useful in a gear. So remember, these that I looked up for you were only about gear tooth profile. You would want to do the same thing. You don't just stop with one. I would like you to look up all of those. But that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to look for images. So some of these images, that looks like a good image, and you might want to have some things about it, but it could also be very important to understand how to calculate a gear ratio, how to calculate the pitch diameter if you know the module, um, how to figure out the circular pitch. Some of these things are all calculated based on other terms. Okay, so you would want to look for some images and look those up. And then, of course, present them on the template for the week under Activity 1. And annotate them so that you can show an appropriate level of understanding. At minimum, you should be able to identify what these are and state it in other words. What is the gear tooth profile? It is the shape of a gear tooth. What is the gear ratio? It's an input gear number of teeth divided by the output gear number of teeth. So that's what I'd like you to do on activity number 1.